What is going down, sourdough squad? How are we doing today on this beautiful Thursday? Hopefully, you guys are doing a lot better than the Warriors. Hopefully, you're doing a lot better than the Warriors. But before we get into any of that, hi Turk. Do me a favor. Drop an SDS in the chat if you're vibing with your boy, regardless of the Warriors collapse. We see all the SDS. Let's go. We see all the squad in here. Hope you guys are. Hey, it's almost Friday, baby. It's almost Friday. We're almost there. We've almost made it. But no more minicamp. Minicamp is wrapped up. Shout out all the SDS. We see you guys. Jason, I feel you with that. Oh, shout out Wifey. Jesse says, Wifey shouts out, what's up, Sourdough Squad? What's up, Wifey? Let's go. Wifey's a real one. Protect her at all costs, Jesse. JM says, I'm good. My Celtics took the home game. Oh, man. It was. We'll talk some 49ers football for sure, but let's talk a little bit about that Warriors game. I mean, I'm not going to lie. As, you know, someone who's watched the Warriors for a very, very long time, it was just a really not good game. I was actually at Chase Center, so I took my son. Me and my son went to the watch party at Chase Center. It was my first time at Chase Center. Beautiful, beautiful arena. But God, would have been a lot better if the Warriors actually showed up. Obviously, we're going to get into football. Don't worry. We're going to get into football, but I just want to talk about it because I was there last night. I'm still a little tired. Still feeling a little hungover from that Warriors game. But it was not good. It was not good. It just felt like the offense was disjointed. Felt like there was never any rhythm. Felt like every single opportunity that was given to them to like inch back into the game, they like ran up the court and like tried to throw a like half court pass like they're Trey Lance or something, like, and just get picked off. Like, what are we doing, man? Just get a bucket. Just get a bucket. That's it. Why? What are we doing? And it was just like they would inch, they'd fight, and then just play the possession, right? Just go out there, play your game, work the offense, do all that good. Nah, rush up the court, make a bad pass, turnover, silly play. Oh gosh, it was a wild one. But hopefully the Warriors can figure it out. But if they don't, ooh, it's gonna be a oh boy, that was wild. But anyways, enough Warriors. Again, great atmosphere at Chase Center last night. Oh man, I'm not gonna lie though. When I've never been to Chase Center. If you've never seen or been to Chase Center, it's right on the water. And when I say right on the water, like it is on the bay. It is beautiful. Like you can be walking around the concourse and you can look out the windows and you just see the entire bay. And it's like, man, how amazing would it be if the San Francisco 49ers had a spot like that? I was just, that's all I could keep thinking about. And again, I like Levi's. I think, you know, they've done a good job with some of the improvements around the stadium. I think 49er fans have started to make Levi Stadium feel like home. Been to a lot of great games there. Loud games too. The crowd shows up at Levi's. But I was at Chase Center and I was like, man, you got Oracle Park right down the street. I was like, man, this feels like this could have been us. Feels like this is where Levi's could have been, but that's just something going through my head. But beautiful stadium, Terrible loss. Let's talk a little football, though, shall we? That's why we're all here. We're all here to talk 49ers football. We're not here to talk about stadiums. We're not here to talk about the Warriors, and I guess you could call it a performance, but hey, on to the next. Do me a favor, smash that like button if you haven't already. Uh, so no more minicamp. Kyle Shanahan, this was supposed to be the last day of mandatory minicamp. Kyle Shanahan canceled it. Uh, and, but for good reason. If you haven't seen, the San Francisco 49ers right now are at headquarters, but today is a family day. Today is the family day. They're having catered barbecue. Looks phenomenal. Looks like they had a bunch of like playhouses out there, all kinds of stuff. So great bonding day. I also, if you didn't see, it looked like George Kittle had taken a bunch of 49ers players uh, and a bunch of different people out to see the new Jurassic Park. So lots of team building going on, lots of bonding. Uh, you love to see it. You love to see it because although we can get again fixated on the play on the field, this is a game played by humans, and having that camaraderie, having that, you know, friendships, getting to know each other's families, things like that, that stuff matters and it goes a long way. So it's good to see that the 49ers are together. There's a picture of Trey Lance. This is from the Art of Barbecue. I don't know if you guys have been to the Art of Barbecue in San Jose. Fire. Absolutely fire. Here you can see the setting at 49ers headquarters right now. You got all the families out there. You got the jumpy houses. Oh, and then you're going to get the barbecue. Look at this spread. I'm hungry. I want to eat it now. Look at that spread. They got all the stuff, the mac and cheese, all of it. Looks good. But this is what the 49ers are up to today. They're eating good. They're kicking back, building memories and bonding. But that's not why we're here either. But it is something I thought we would just mention because that's what the 49ers are doing right now. What we're going to talk about are some of the standouts from this period. We got a lot of new faces. We got a lot of people showing up that we haven't seen before. We got rookies, we got veterans, we got returning players, lots of guys out there. And so far, lots of glowing reports coming out of camp. I think if we're going to start on the offensive side, I'm really, really excited about Juwan Jennings. I'm really excited about Juwan Jennings. I'm really excited about Brandon Ayuk. Obviously, we saw Deebo Samuel head out. He was on the field, seemed to be in good spirits. So that's a sign that the 49ers are moving in the right direction. Ray McLeod making plays by all accounts, per reports. Ray McLeod's making plays down the field, catching dimes, apparently, from Trey Lance. So that's good to see. And when you start to piece it together, the San Francisco 49ers, and Jordan Elliott wrote an article on this earlier for Niners Nation, but talking about how stacked the 49ers wide receiver room is, and it is, man. It really, really is. I mean, we look at the top heavy portion of it. We look at the Ayuk, Deebo, Jennings combo. And again, by all accounts, Jennings is taking those immense leaps forward. Juwan Jennings being a 7th-round pick out of Tennessee, turning into a guy that the 49ers can count on and rely on is huge, especially with kind of the unknowns going on with Deebo Samuel. Jennings is turning into that guy who's going to move the chains, who's going to be a red zone threat. You absolutely love to see it. So one of the biggest takeaways that I've had from camp is guys like Juwan Jennings balling out, Ray McLeod balling out. hearing good things about some of the undrafted free agents, hearing good things about the veterans that they signed on 1-year deals, all kinds of stuff. So I think Larry Krueger was on. We were talking about that sixth spot kind of being up for grabs right now because you have Danny Gray, again, the third round rookie who we all have high hopes for. Haven't even mentioned Danny Gray yet, but you would assume that he's going to get a spot. So when you look at the 49ers top 5 wide receivers, you got Debo, Ayuk, Jennings, Gray, and Ray McLeod. That is a good spot to be in. I mean, I'm thinking back to like, oh, remember 2017? Marquise Goodwin, Pierre Garcon, Trent Taylor, like those were our top, and no disrespect to any of those players, but that's kind of where like we were at, you know, Dante Pettis in 2018. Just it's been a rocky road. So like really get the 49ers wide receiver core, I think, up to a standard that, you see behind me. You see the Jerry Rice jersey. We've seen T.O. We've seen the Brandon Lloyds. Like, we've seen some good wide receivers, the J.J. Stokes. We've seen the John Taylor. We've seen some good wide receivers come through San Francisco. So I think what's really, really exciting about one of the bigger takeaways from camp is that we got the top dogs, but all the other dogs fighting for that last spot. That that is exciting because there's genuine competition. Someone is going to have to stake claim to that sixth wide receiver spot. Do they keep 7? I don't know. We're going to find out. If they need help on special teams, that could absolutely be a situation that could develop. But when you look at the top 5 guys, again, Ray is going to be a returner. When have we had a returner? When was the last time the San Francisco 49ers had a legitimate returner like that we could count on and not have to? Is it going to be Brandon Ayuk this year? Like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't got to do that anymore. So it's Ray McLeod is going to handle the wide receiver or the return duties, but he's also a threat as a wide receiver. You cannot, Ted Ginn, very good. But you cannot discount what he can do to the offense. I think Ray McLeod is going to be that guy who can run those jet sweeps, potentially take handoffs out of the backfield, do a lot of those types of things because he's just an explosive athlete. So from overall, what we're hearing from training camp, really, really excited about the wide receivers. Staying on the offensive side, obviously, we're very excited about Trey Lance. We've heard good things, pretty much nothing but good things from Trey Lance, which on one hand is to be expected, but also it feels like more than just lip service in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like you put the tinfoil hat on, you can kind of get an idea of, are they feeding me some lip service, or is this just a media answer or whatever? But it feels like you're hearing a lot of the same things. With Trey Lance, you're hearing that he's taking steps forward in the maturation process, which was to be expected. He's taking steps forward as a leader, which were to be expected. But it's just great hearing all of those things. So one of the bigger takeaways is Trey Lance is appearing to fill that role as QB1, which is exactly what the 49ers are looking for right now with no Jimmy Garoppolo in the building. Jake Brendel, the ginger center god, has got a lot of vote of confidence from a lot of players this week. A lot of vote of confidence this week. So moving to the offensive line, again, the center quarterback relationship, huge. You got to be like, people think that snapping the ball is easy, and I'm not saying that. I'm more speaking in generalities, of course, but I think there's underappreciated sense that goes into just snapping the ball, just that process. Uh, you got to take a lot of snaps with your quarterback to just get it down to where it's muscle memory, to like where you're not fumbling snaps. You've figured it out. Like, you know what type of speed, pressure is to be expected. So Jake Brendel is starting to seem like a guy who's going to be the 49ers starting center, at least get first crack at training camp at holding down the starting center spot, uh, which is good news in the sense for guys like Daniel Brunskill. He gets to stay at home at right guard, uh, keep that continuity building forward with Mike McGlinchey and Jake Brendel. By all accounts, again, athletic scores off the charts. Uh, I watched him last year, but I was watching him in the sense that I was watching Dakota Shepley just as much. So I'm very excited now to watch him in this new light of being in the starting rotation and seeing what he's able to do. But it does sound like Jake Brendel has gotten the vote of confidence not only from Trent Williams, from Kyle Shanahan, from you name it. Whoever was asked about Jake Brendel, everyone had positive things to say. And again, one of the biggest things about Jake Brendel is we just don't know. And that's why it's one of those things like we kind of need to hear from guys inside the locker room to kind of, you know, give some perspective, much needed perspective. So Jake Brendel is a name out of these mini camps that we have become to know and are looking forward to seeing how he performs in training camp. But sticking on the offensive line, we are also looking at Aaron Banks. Big year for the second year guard out of Notre Dame. He has back at left guard, his natural home. Uh, I think you're going to see that also translate into more uh, just continuity, just more continuity for the second year player. Again, by all accounts, he's transformed his body. Uh, Trent Williams had a lot of good things to say about Aaron Banks going from year one to year two. So we've heard some good things about Aaron Banks. Again, he gets to play against or right next to Trent Williams. That's good. That's a good sign. Just having that luxury in of itself is a good thing. To be able to lean on guys like Trent. Trent can always look down the line and be like, "Yo, Aaron, you got to do this right here. We're gonna combo to this side, or actually, you're gonna take my guy and I'm gonna loop around." Like you can have Trent Williams in the huddle in Aaron Banks' ear talking about what we're going to do with this look and that look and how we need to execute our technique. And Aaron Banks isn't necessarily on an island in that regard. He's got an all world tackle right to his left. So looking forward to the way that offensive line is absolutely coming to shape. And again, you keep that right side together. Brunskill and McGlinchey were phenomenal before Brunskill went down, or excuse me, McGlinchey went down. So looking forward to the offensive line and seeing what that looks like. Obviously, the depth behind it, looking forward to that as well. But some of the takeaways are Brendel and Aaron Banks seem to be taking those steps forward with the starting offensive line. Haven't heard a ton about the tight ends. Haven't heard a ton about the tight ends. It's been relatively quiet. You know, obviously, we know George Kittle. I think Charlie Warner has it pretty locked down, but there's a world that exists where all spots behind George Kittle are up for grabs. Maybe Croft wins one, maybe Fumagalli wins one, maybe Dwelly wins it. I don't know. I'm very excited for the way the tight end competition is going to play out at training camp. I think the tight end 2, tight end 3, that that's going to be nice. That is going to be nice. Uh, what's Dustin saying? Is that a White Sox hat? That's actually my favorite residency hat. Let's go. Also, thoughts on the Warriors series. We were actually talking about the Warriors earlier. We started the show talking about the Warriors. I was at Chase Center last night. We were talking about how I was at Chase Center, around all the Warrior fans. Uh, it was dope for a second. It was when they had that 7-point swing and they were able to take the lead. That was nice, but just, ugh. Draymond didn't play well. Clay felt like Clay was pressing, just trying to like will things in. I feel like Clay is a great rhythm shooter. And when I talk about Trey Lance too, as a rhythm thrower, when you see guys in rhythm and they're flowing and they're not thinking and they're just playing and it's just coming to them, they're just like ooh ooh or boo. Like Clay, kind of similar in that sense. I think when Trey gets a little locked up, tries to press it in there, can kind of get away from him a little bit, just kind of like Clay. Clay's pressing a little too much. He's rushing shots, not taking the best looks, not making the best passes. So it just felt a little disjointed. Felt like they were just not settling into the offense for the most part. But yeah. Anyways, but if you do want to get your residency hat as well, you know the vibes. Go to residency.com, use the promo code DSF9ers, get you a little discount off your order, and it would be helping out your boy quite a bit. So we appreciate it. But back to 49ers football. Anyone else on the offense? So we're going to get over to the defense here in a second. But anyone on the offense that you want to talk about that maybe I didn't talk about that is standing out to you from these OTA minicamp sessions? Wondering what you guys are thinking. Did I miss anyone? Did we cover the offense pretty well? And are we ready to hop on over to the defensive side? So I haven't heard anything about Trey Sermon. I don't know if you guys have. I haven't heard anything about Trey Sermon. So we're gonna find out what TDP's in there. We've heard quite a bit about Jordan Mason. Jordan Mason's getting good reviews. We're hearing a lot of good things about some of these running backs. Greg Cosell, not a 49ers legend, but a football legend. He seems to really like TDP. Feels like the 49ers got a guy there. Obviously, Elijah Mitchell. I think this is going to be one of the more fascinating camps. Training camp battles, also preseason battles. Who's going to ball out in regards to the running back? Again, didn't hear much of anything about Trey Sermon from a, I guess, reporting standpoint. Again, I wasn't there, so I can't speak to it from that standpoint. But from what we've heard, haven't heard a whole ton about Trey Sermon. Going to be interesting. We talked about Ray McCloud a little bit earlier when talking about the 49ers wide receiver core, but Ray is going to be a guy. I'm very excited about Ray. Very excited about Ray for a lot of different reasons. I don't know if he's going to put up massive production, but I think when he touches the football, when he gets the opportunities, whether it's in the run game, whether it's in the pass game, whether it's gadget plays behind the line of scrimmage, bubble screens, anything like that, Ray McCloud is going to do some damage. And especially in a scheme with Kyle Shanahan, where Kyle knows how to scheme guys open, where you scheme Ray McCloud open, that boy's going to wiggle. So I'm very excited about Ray McCloud. Very excited about the wide receiver room in general. Yes, Gray is still out, but I think they're just being ultra precautious at this point. I saw him running off to the side with Deebo Samuel. They're doing a little bit of he was running routes, so it didn't look like anything that was super bad. So we saw Gray running routes the day Deebo Samuel showed up. Was good, Luke. Good to see you around these parts. Let's see what else we got. Talk about Josh Hockett. I can only talk about Josh Hockett from last year, and he was a guy that I really liked coming out of last year. But again, haven't seen anything really this year. Did I hear anything about Juice taking snaps on special teams as a holder? No, but I know Juice, like that is something he does. Juice does that with regularity. He talked about that last year when he had to step in. I think when Robbie Gould got hurt and Mitch Wishnowsky had to kick, and then Juice had to hold. Juice talked about how he's been practicing for like 5 years as the backup uh, holder. So, and I think Juice also told a story about like how at one point he thought he was going to make the NFL being a holder alone. Like that was going to be his end to the NFL. Was he was going to be a special teams holder. So, I haven't heard anything about that, but I do know that Juice takes that role very seriously and is something that, hey, if they needed him to step in, he's ready to go. So, looking forward to that. But yeah, this is pretty much this is the stable that you got right here. Add Juice to the mix. You're gonna have Hockett in there. Going to be very, very interesting to see what that is all about. James was looking forward to seeing Jake Brendel. Same. Same. Let's see. All right. It looks like we're getting ready to switch on over to the defensive side. So in regards to this question, this is an offensive question. Who's been playing right guard while Brunskill sits? I haven't seen what the new O line looks like. I haven't really seen anyone report it as of late because what I've been hearing is they've been running a lot of 7-on-7 periods. So I don't know if they've been running team period, but if they're running 7-on-7, there's no offensive lineman in 7-on-7 periods. So I haven't really heard much on the starting offensive line since the initial OTA reports where it was McKivitz, Banks, Brendel, Jalen Moore, and School. I haven't heard really other than you insert you insert Trent Williams at left tackle. So then Trent Williams is there. Then you got Aaron Banks. Then you got Brendel. Their Brunskill's been, I guess there are reports that he has knee tendonitis. So he hasn't been participating. So I would imagine it was Jalen Moore or McKivitz. And I haven't heard any updates on who's been at right tackle either. So, but that does feel like they're just waiting. They're just waiting. They're waiting for training camp. They're waiting for training camp. So that's again going to be something that we monitor very, very closely as we get closer to camp. But very excited about the offensive line. Again, we've talked about it. Like there are some unknowns, and the unknowns scare people, but they've done a good job of going after getting talent in the draft. They got second year players, they've got a couple veterans, they've got options. So I don't think it will be the end of the world. And because we didn't go get that name brand JC Treader, who again has a lot of injuries. And knowing 49er fans with the injury PTSD that we do have, might be okay without JC Treader. We'll see. There's still some time. I would imagine the 49ers would make a couple more moves here if they wanted to. Once OTAs and minicamps officially close, and as they begin to round out the 90-man roster heading into training camp. So we're going to find out. But switching on over to the defensive side. Standouts. We're going to start with the Tongan Tiger, Talanoa Hufanga. We had questions. If you so I told you guys, remember, if you were watching the pre-draft shows that I was doing, I at one point had safety as my second highest ranked draft need. But you guys will also remember that I had a bit of epiphany after I'd actually put that out. I had put out that the 49ers safety position was the second biggest draft need. And after I put it out, I was like, I thought about it. I actually slept on it. I was like, I actually don't think it's that big of a need. You take a step back, you're like, well, they got Talanoa again heading into year 2. They already loved Talanoa last year. They have Tarvarius Moore coming back. They signed George Odom to what? Triple the amount of what Kwaski was playing on last year. You got Dante Johnson back, who is you know, he's a hybrid safety. You got guys like Leon O'Neal Jr. Making good interceptions out there in practice. So if you guys remember, I was like, before the draft, I was like, actually, I don't think safety's that big of a need. I don't think safety's that big of a need. And guess what? The 49ers didn't draft safety. They did not do it. And as a result, what have we seen and heard from this training camp? Talanoa Hufanga has taken strides, like big strides. And I think Talanoa is really liked in that locker room. I think he's really liked in that locker room. They talk about his work ethic. They talk about his ability to continue to strive to get better. He doesn't fall off. He just keeps taking steps forward. And I think with Talanoa, again, the big thing that we hear about with Talanoa, oh, he trains with Troy Polamalu, Hall of Famer, legend. Uh, but we like that. Just like we like Trey Lance, Steve Young talking it out. We like Talanoa Hufanga working out with Troy Polamalu because Troy was an instinctual player. Yes, Troy had a lot of, athletic ability as well. But Troy Polamalu, if you ever had the pleasure of watching Troy Polamalu play football, it was a pleasure. He was an instinctual son of a gun, whether he's jumping over the line of scrimmage, timing snap counts, just knowing where to be. Troy Polamalu was that guy. Well, Talanoa Hufanga, although not a similar, I wouldn't say it's a player comp just because they work out together and they're both Tongan and have beautiful, luscious long hair. They are similar in the sense of their instincts and the way that they are cerebral and put themselves in position to make plays. Again, going back to last year's training camp, first time I focused in on Talanoa Hufanga starting in 11 on 11 periods. He was all over the place. Every time the ball went somewhere, he was there. When you hear about guys having noses for the football, it's because they know where the ball is going based on preparation, based on instinct, and they put themselves in good positions to make plays. Half the battle is just putting yourself in position to make plays. Talanoa Hufanga does that already as a rookie. Going into this offseason, they've talked about how he's changed his body as well. He's gone stronger, he's gone bigger, he's gone faster, he's gone twitchier, he's gone smarter. They've talked about his communication skills on the back end, being the quarterback of the defense, essentially getting everyone lined up. He's barking out calls, crystal clear I mean, not enough good things can be said about Talanoa Hufanga. And that's huge. And you get that second year leap with Talanoa Hufanga. You get that guy next to Jimmy Ward. You let those two guys just roam, do what they need to do. 49ers are in a good spot in that scenario. 49ers are in a good spot in that scenario. So Talanoa Hufanga, I think, is up there, not only on the defensive side with players who have stood out from this minicamp session, but players who have stood out and kind of jumped out based on comments that we've heard, reports that we've heard. Feels like Talanoa Hufanga has really taken that big leap in year 2. So I really think Talanoa Hufanga has elevated his stock big time out of these OTAs and mini camps. we've also heard a lot of good things about Drake Jackson. I was very, like, kind of again, players aren't going to say bad things about their own players. Like, that should be a given. So we should already understand that. But you can tell when players are genuinely excited to talk about another guy. When Samson Ebukam was asked about Drake Jackson, he, his whole body language changed. He was like, "Oh man, that guy's gonna be good." When they asked Nick Bosa about Drake Jackson, Nick Bosa said, "That dude is doing things that I never did as a rookie." And what did Nick Bosa do as a rookie? He put up an amazing rookie campaign. So, not saying that ultimately means Drake Jackson is going to do that, but I think what it means is Drake Jackson has all the tools and the traits to be a legitimate player in this league. Again, you heard similar things about D'Amico Ryans talking about Drake Jackson, his ability, the raw ability that he has, and how he can continue to get better. So, very excited about Drake Jackson. Again, another guy on the defensive line. I see people talking about Kerry Hyder Jr. Uh, th- it's amazing. That defensive line depth is going to be phenomenal. And I'm really excited to see about Drake Jackson, the way he comes off that edge, the way he turns that corner, makes that bend, finds that point, that drop back point, and then cuts it off at the top of his pass rush and gets flat to the quarterback. I think, I think Drake Jackson has an opportunity to use that burst to his advantage to again allow Nick Bosa also to wreak havoc. But if you're getting Drake Jackson in one-on-one matchups because they're sliding protection to Nick Bosa, uh, or guys like Samson Ebukam, Kerry Hyder Jr., Charles Omenihu. Charles Omenihu looks intimidating. Have you guys seen any videos of Charles Omenihu? Have you seen him walking around practice? He he looks like he's going to be a dog. Teray looks like he's going to be a dog. The 49ers defensive line right now is stacked. Kerry Hyder, uh, Drake Jackson, Nick Bosa, Teray, Omenihu, Ebukam. Still probably missing guys. Willis, like I mean, there's just so many. So I think, I think that defensive line is going to be in a good spot. I do. And we saw Kinlaw walking around. We saw Kinlaw walking around. Holy crap. He looks like he's in peak shape. He looks like he's in peak shape. And we've seen Kinlaw before look like he's in shape, like going into last year. Like he looked like he was in good shape. He looks like he's gonna hurt someone. So again, long as he can stay healthy, uh, Bear baller. Can't forget Kevin Givens. I think Kevin Givens is going to show up. We talked about Mo Hurst. We didn't even talk about Mo Hurst. So many guys on that D line. So many guys. We're gonna lose a good one. We're gonna lose some good ones. We're gonna lose some guys who are like, damn, he got cut. We're gonna be like that. We're gonna be like, damn, he got cut. Well, I don't know who that guy's gonna be yet, but there's gonna be one of those. There's gonna be one of those like, oh, damn, we cut him. Woo. So I'm pretty excited. Again, lots of good reviews about the defensive line. We've gotten good reviews from guys like Charvarius Ward. We've heard good things about Charvarius Ward, about how he is going to be a very physical presence out there at the cornerback position, which is going to be absolutely huge. So you love to see that because, of course, the San Francisco 49ers spent some big money on him. And you want to see those investments pan out. And so far, looks like Charvarius Ward is going to be one of those guys for the San Francisco 49ers. So overall, though, grand scheme of the defense run by D'Amico Ryans, it feels like the 49ers defense as a whole has a real opportunity to be better than what they were last year. And last year, the 49ers defense kept them in so many games. If it wasn't for the 49ers defense, Fred Warner, Aziz Al-Shaair, Bosa, Emmanuel Mosley, Jimmy Ward, all the role players. If it wasn't for that defense, 49ers would have had no shot at making the playoffs. So, very excited about that. We've heard good things about Samuel Womack, rookie, 5th round cornerback out of Toledo. He could be a guy. Again, Larry Krueger talked about when we had him on about just having that swag, that mentality that you want to see out of starting caliber cornerbacks. Again, he's still got Diamador Lenore, Darquez Denard. Heard a lot of good things about Darquez Denard as a veteran. It's going to be interesting to see if they keep Darquez as the starter, or maybe Diamador wins it. Maybe Womack wins the starting nickel spot. But so far, Darquez Denard is holding it down. So going to be very interesting to see how that plays out. But again, good problem to have. Seems to have a lot. The 49ers seem to have a lot of good options at that position. Again, Ambry Thomas coming back as well. So a lot of good things happening for the 49ers coming out of training camp. Again, both offensively, both defensively. Again, I think, and I speak for myself, and you guys can chime in as well, but it feels like a lot of the questions that we had heading into camp have been answered. Who's gonna, like, what's going on with the safety position? Like, what's going on there? Well, it's Hufanga, and they feel really good about Hufanga. Okay, all right. Well, what about nickel? Well, it's Darquez, and we really, really like Darquez. But you got some young dogs behind him as well playing at a high level. Okay, well, that's good. We're hearing good things about Jason Verrett and his progress coming back from injury. All good things. Again, defensive line depth is insane. We know Fred Warner, Aziz Al-Shaair, Greenlaw, they're going to be those guys. We've heard about Oren Burks, the special teams stud linebacker, talking about how fast he is. 49ers, man, I think we're gonna have some special teams this year. We heard from Brian Schneider yesterday, new special teams coach. I actually found it a bit refreshing hearing from Brian Schneider. It felt like Brian Schneider had a year off, and it was really reflectionary period for him. Again, being outside of football for, like, I think one of the first years in his career and not having like a job necessarily. And I kind of got inspired a little bit by the way he was just talking about his new perspective on the game, on the way he goes about coaching, the way he's kind of going about this situation. So you're going to have guys like George Odom, Ray McLeod, Oren Burks, who are going to be massive special teams contributors. And Schneider said those guys were at the top of his list. He said, they'll ask me about players that I like because it's a collaborative effort. And he said those three guys were at the top of his list. 49ers went out and got him. Obviously, last year, depth was a huge concern. We understand if I don't know what it is, but San Francisco 49ers get injured a lot. I don't know why. I don't think there's really anything that we could totally point to. The 49ers have been through multiple, strength and conditioning staffs, uh, training staffs to try to like switch it up, address the injuries, those types of situations. Uh, but I think ultimately where it is right now, the 49ers have so much depth everywhere, just everywhere. And that will ultimately benefit special teams the most. Because now your teamers, all your special teamers, are going to be legitimate players. Legitimate players. So I'm excited about that. When you look at all three phases coming out of this mini camp, feels like the 49ers have addressed all three phases. And that is music to our ears. Again, special teams. We lost games last year because of special teams. We lost games. The 49ers lost games last year because of depth. The 49ers lost games last year because of the quarterback position or X, Y, and Z. Feels like all those variables have been addressed in some sense. So, overall, feeling pretty excited about it. But I do want to ask the chat, and may you step away from your arguments that you're having with the Mr. Panthers fan who seems to get everyone riled up all the time. On a scale of 1 to 100, on a scale to 1 to 100, how confident are you feeling with the way the 49ers have constructed the roster up until this point? Up until we again finally got to see these guys on the field, finally got to see some reports, finally got to see some clips. What is your confidence level right now going into training camp? 1 out of 100. What's it going to be? So far, Sargent is giving it all 100s. Roman's giving it a 99. I mean, that's pretty confident. That's pretty confident. 93 from Ellis. Big Papa's giving that 90. $90 from Jason. The Big Jordan Troll giving a 70. Not surprised. We're getting an 80 from Shatej. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that felt fun to say. Let's see. Notorious says I'm 90% happy. Would be 100%, but the Mac retirement has me worried. Fair enough. That is very fair. Absolutely fair. Still got a couple questions there on that interior. Very fair. Makes sense. 100 all the way. Super Bowl or bust. Whew. That's some confidence right there. Kenyon says 90. The O line worries me. I hear you. I'm probably, if I had to kind of put my grade on it, we'll get through a couple more of your guys' scales from 1 to 100 on confidence levels heading into this training camp after the OTA and minicamp reports. Antonio is giving it 100, 90. Liliana is giving it a 75. Nice, an 80. Aloha Smitty says 97. Fast Family says 72.9. Let's see what else we got. I think that's pretty much it. We got an 80 from Jets Gang. Jag giving it a 90. If I had to give it a grade, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna temper the expectations just a little bit because I want it to have the ability to go up. I'm gonna have it at an 85, right? Just right now, an 85. Uh, I feel like I think the Mac could account for a solid five, 5 to 7 points on the confidence scale. I think the Alex Mack retirement, if Alex Mack didn't retire, we're sitting pretty in the 90s. The Alex Mack retirement, again, not that I don't have faith in Jake Brendel or anything like that. It's just there's a bit of an unproven still to it. I'm a believer that he can step in and be that guy to fill in for Alex Mack. But again, once I get into training camp, a much, much better instance. Again, my eyes will tell me. I'm a big proponent of using my eyes to evaluate football. I do appreciate, you know, the way other people evaluate football, but at the end of the day, I trust my eyes more than I trust pretty much anyone else's eyes. So once I get into training camp, I will be able to tell pretty quickly uh, if that scale is going to go higher or lower. So as of right now, I'm going to sit around 85. George Kittle. We're going to sit around George Kittle. We're going to sit around 85, which I think is good. And again, could have been in the 90s if Mac didn't retire. But I'm going to sit around 85. I want to see a couple things. I want to see what I want to see what the starting defensive backs really are in action. Is Verrett going to be back? Where does Verrett play? I want to see Charvarius Ward, aka Charmander West, for my own eyes. I just want to see with my own eyes. Uh, I want to see what that running back the depth really looks like. I want to see TDP in action. I want to see Ray McLeod. I want to see Danny Gray. I want to see what the tight end 2, tight end 3 positions looking like. So right now, I feel good though. Like again, I feel pretty good. Feel pretty good. Feeling good at an 85. So ultimately, time will tell. Because once I get my eyes on these boys, it'll be much better to determine who really stands out to me and maybe some questions that I could have. So going to be very interesting. Justin says, I want to see what RBs look like. They held TDP out of media availability 2 weeks straight. A little nugget. Charles O'Menahue posted onto Instagram saying TDP is one of the funniest rookies he's ever been around. So take that for what it's worth. But Charles O'Menahue, defensive end, seems to find Ty Davis Price hilarious enough to post it to his Instagram. So I know we haven't heard from TDP yet, but actually O'Menahue posted that earlier today. But if you guys do have any questions, comments, feel free to drop them in the chat. I don't think we're going to go super long today on this Thursday afternoon. But now we get ready for the long haul. Are you guys ready? You guys ready till training camp? Oh, training camp was announced. So we did get a date for training camp. Training camp will begin July 29th. July 29th is the date that training camp will begin. That's a long time away. That's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pretty much 7 weeks away. So We are 7 weeks away from training camp. Are you guys ready for that? You guys ready for that? 7 weeks. Let's go. Shout out Joey. Bosa was held already to 1K. 10K next. Legendary Twitter account. Started right here in the SDS. Bryant says, Tabor Pepper, my thoughts. I mean, he's a long snapper, and he doesn't mess up any snaps. So I like it. I like it a lot. It's good personality. Good personality too. Fan seems to love him. Yeah, someone said good dresser. Yeah, he dresses well. He's got long hair too. He's got kind of the beard as well. So hey, he doesn't I haven't seen him miss a snap yet, so that's good. I think he made a couple tackles last year too. I think he got in mixed it up in a couple tackles last year too, so I think he's all right. I think he's all right. Who are you guys excited to see in training camp? Who are your guys' number ones? Who's that guy that you're looking forward to? Are any of you guys going to go to training camp? Because training camp should be opened up to the public again. Notorious is looking forward to see Juice. I wish they would use Juice more a little bit. Dude, like that was one of my biggest takeaways from training camp last year. It's just like how good Juice is. Like he's good with routes. He's just a remember football player. He's a football player. Like Juice is just a football player. Um he's just good at playing football. Danny Gray, very excited about seeing Danny Gray, 100%. I'm excited to see that speed in person, see those burners, see that yak ability, see him go up and get some contested catches. Big Papa says Kinlaw. Very excited to see Kinlaw too. Again, we're going to see Kinlaw in a bit of a different light. Reconstructed knee. Again, when we spoke to Kinlaw, told us he's doing things that he's never done before. Again, you can see the shape. Looks like he's in peak shape. So very excited for Kinlaw and what he can do. Again, Danny Gray right there with you. I think Danny Gray is gonna be what is Niner by Nature calling him? Danny Greyhound. Captain Juice. What was Juice the captain last year? Maybe. I don't know. I can't remember. I mean, if you ask George Kittle, Juice is honorary tight end. So I think he could play tight end. If people used him like a tight end, absolutely. Absolutely. Uh Big Huff. Yep. Mariah says Trey Lance, TDP, potentially fire combo. I'm looking forward to zone read. The zone read. I'm looking for the zone read between Trey Lance, TDP. I think TDP can execute zone read very well, and then of course Trey Lance, his ability to tuck it and run, and be that threat in the run game. I think that's going to be pretty exciting. Brunel says between West and Poe, who you think could make the 53-man roster? I want West, but I think Kyle could keep Poe because of his ability to play the fullback position. I think both could have a difficult I don't know. Someone's got to beat out Sutherland. So as of right now, Sutherland is slotted in there as the center 2. So one of those guys has to beat out Sutherland. If West or Poe can do it, um, then one of them will make it. The thing with Poe is Poe, I think, has like again when you listen to Trent Williams, like he was shocked by how fast Poe was and how strong and stout he is. If Poe can prove it again, if we show up to training camp and we're seeing Jason Poe like being able to lock up guys like Kinlaw and Eric Armstead, that's the bar. Like I don't think Jason Poe will have any issues uh fitting in to the zone, outside zone scheme, his ability to get to the second level, the ability to use him as a puller. I don't think he will have any problems in the run, like in that sense of like getting to the second level and pulling. What I want to see is when he's got a head up 6'6", 330-pound defensive tackle on him, and he's got to dig him out and he's got to move him. That's what I want to see. I don't have any doubts about his ability as a puller, his ability to get to second level, the leverage that he has, the speed, the feet, the base, all of it. I think he's got it. It's just I want to see how he goes against some of these bigger guys. So if I had to bet and you just like, all right, you got to pull the trigger. You got to make a decision here, Brad. Stop waffling. I'd probably say West. I'd probably say West has a better chance to make it right now, but that can change in a heartbeat. So I think right now I would say West. You have to look at the money that they gave West. They gave him a decent guarantee. So I would say West, but gotta wait till camp. Poe comes out. Could be nice. Could be nice. Hey, I have no problems with that. If you want to make Juice a captain, I have zero problems with that. Gray, Trey, Kinlaw, yes, want to see them. Ayuk, ooh, I'm ready. I want to see Ayuk go crazy. I want to see Ayuk. I want to see those 50-50 balls where you got to go up and fight for the ball. I want to see those. I want to see ones where Ayuk just whoops the cornerback, streaking down the field wide open. Trey Lance delivers over the shoulder in stride. I want to see some of that 100%. 100%. Jay Tan says, pack a bunch of cool, cold drinks to training camp. For sure, for sure. For sure, for sure. Josh says, Juice and Kittle will be getting the ball a ton this year with Debo not wanting to play out of the backfield. I just think the ball overall is going to get spread out a lot more. Just with Trey Lance, his ability to throw outside the numbers and down the field, they're not going to have to rely so heavily on short to intermediate. You know what I mean? Like they're going to have such a better opportunity to kind of get the ball out wherever, opposed to it felt like they were trying so hard to scheme open, you know, passes over the middle of the field that like after a while, like defenses were just like, all right, we're just going to bring our safeties down and we're just going to squat over the middle and we're going to dare you to throw it to the outside. And just it didn't happen with regularity. So I think as a result of Trey Lance and just his play style in general and his arm strength, I think he will be able to get the ball to a lot different guys than, just force feeding Debo all the time or force feeding Kittle for a certain game or Ayuk. Again, I go back to the Texans game. All the guys got some run in that game. So pretty excited about that. Let's go. Justin says, I got tickets for preseason game just to see Jordan Mason. Hey, if he makes the roster, if he makes the 53-man roster, Justin, you have to get the jersey. Like you have to. You have to. I'll be disappointed if Jordan Mason makes the final 53 and you don't get you don't get the jersey. I will be disappointed. Very disappointed. Thoroughly disappointed. Uh JM said, looking forward to seeing Ward and Lance. Which Ward? Or both Wards, maybe both. Could be that guy. We talked about Brendel a little bit already, but I definitely feel better about it. I've warmed up to it. Again, I watched him last year. I'm not going to pretend like the second string offensive line were world beaters. In fact, it was quite the opposite. The second string offensive line was getting beat up on a regular basis last year. But again, we understand the 49ers defensive line was sending waves at them. And when I go back to the second string offensive line, it wasn't even Jalen Moore. I don't think it was, and it wasn't School because School was hurt at that point. I know second string was Brendel at center, Aaron Banks at right guard. I think left tackle might have been McKivitz, or right guard might have been McKivitz. I don't remember. I have to look it up. But again, just going back to last year, the second string offensive line was getting beat up quite a bit, in all honesty. But doesn't mean that can't change. Doesn't mean that can't change. Let me see. I'll have to find it. But yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I feel much more confident about Brendel right now. But we'll just have to see. Danny Gray, definitely. Sir Lance, throw a lot. Ooh, there you go. Josh says, I'm interested to see Charvarius Ward actually play against these receivers. That speed is wild. Yeah, I think the biggest thing that I'm looking for Charvarius West, physicality. I want to see the 49ers be able to play more press man coverage. And as a result of playing more press man coverage, blitz more, run more exotic packages. I think they were kind of vanilla at the start of the year. They also had to get out of what they were wanting to do because you had Josh Norman starting at cornerback. You had a rookie Ambry Thomas at times, rookie Diamador Lenore. They were just so thin at cornerback because Jason Burrow went down week one. I don't think we really got to see what D'Amico wanted to do. So looking forward this year, again, you get Emmanuel Mosley, you get Charvarius Ward, you potentially get a healthy Emmanuel Mosley. Really, really looking forward to that. Oh, we got a super chat down here. Let's see. Jag says, who's starting O-line game one? Best guess. If I had to put any money on it, especially after what we took away from training camp or mini camp, I should say, is it's obviously going to be Trent Williams at left tackle. I think it's been solidified that Aaron Banks is going to be playing left guard. I think they're going to make Aaron Banks play left guard damn near, like even if he wasn't ready. They're going to be like, well, you better get ready, Aaron, because that's why we drafted you in the second round. You got to get ready. You got to go. We need you. The time is now. No more waiting. So I think Aaron Banks is locked in at left guard. Again, I think it's going to be Jake Brendel at center. at least to start training camp. We'll see if he ultimately makes it to week 1. I imagine he does. I imagine he does. I imagine Jake Brendel will be starting week 1 with Daniel Brunskill at right guard and the return of Mike McGlinchey at right tackle. And if that is the offensive line, I feel better keeping Brunskill and McGlinchey together because I know what I get out of those two. Obviously, we want to make sure that McGlinchey is healthy, but if he's healthy, I know what he is. I know what he's capable of. You guys know that I'm a bigger McGlinchey fan than most. Um, and I understand what McGlinchey and Brunskill can do together. They're a good combo. Again, playing offensive line, it's not it's a team within the team. It's the only unit on the entire football team that is like a sub team where the offensive line has to play together. You don't have individuals on the offensive line. You play as a unit, you play as a group. You have to work in tandem. You have to pass things off. You have to be able to communicate. You have to be able to do those types of things well. We saw last year Jalen Moore, he couldn't do those things well. And that's why he got benched for Tom Compton. I forgot. I forgot that that Jalen Moore played week 10 against the Rams. I forgot. And when I was doing my Brunskill clips, I was reminded. And I was also again then reminded why Jalen Moore was benched later that next week against the Jaguars. And then after that point, we didn't see Jalen Moore again. And now Jalen Moore's at right guard, which again, I don't see as a vote of confidence. I see that as a bit of like, we don't trust you to play tackle anymore. So we'll see how that plays out. But boy, I forgot. I forgot Jalen Moore was playing tackle next to Brunskill against the Rams. Whew, wasn't the best. Wasn't the best. And after that, um, again, he got benched the next week against the Jags. So we're going to find out. We're going to find out what's going on with Jalen Moore. I don't think his best spot is at guard, but hey, that's where he's at. So we're going to see what goes on with that. But I would rather have Colton McKivitz at this point over from what I've seen from Jalen Moore. So I think if Jalen Moore can improve, I guess, then we're in a good spot. But he's got to take those steps forward for sure, for sure, for sure. Listening to Lombardi say that McGlinchey is in the top half of the right tackles for the league based on PFF. I'll be honest. PFF is definitely more of a fits my narrative kind of stat for the offensive line situation. Jason and I have talked about it. It was funny. I did a post. Let me see if I can even pull it up. Referencing a PFF grade for Trent Williams. And again, I only use it fits my narrative. Like I use PFF when it fits my narrative. Full disclosure. When it fits my narrative, it's nice to see People can see it and they see, oh, highest graded player in PFF history. That's cool. I had I made this post. I tagged I tagged uh what's his name? Baldy. I tagged Baldy in it. And we know who Baldy is. Baldy's breakdowns, legend, former offensive lineman, does all the film breakdowns after every game. And I tagged him in this, and he responded to the tag in the DM. Then he said, "I don't even know what PFF grades are or like what they even mean." I thought it was because it's Baldy, bro. Like he's such an old school tape head. Like, and he was like, "What the hell are these PFF grades, man?" He's like, "What do they even mean?" He's like, "I don't even know. Like, just watch the tape." Like, he's like, "These PFF grades, I don't know. I don't know what that is." You know what I mean? Like, I laughed. I thought it was the most like old school football head. Like, man, what does this PFF grade even mean? And I agree with him, especially for the offensive line, because you have to think about it. You got a lot of guys, from my understanding, people I've talked to who have logged plays before. Uh, they've never played offensive line. They don't know the responsibility. They don't know what's a win, what's a true L. Like to be able to determine those types of things, but they spit out these reports, and then it generates a grade, so they could be very misleading. I think PFF's good for like things like pressures or pressures given up, things like that. It's not like they're completely useless, but I thought it was just a funny story about how uh Baldy wasn't about it. Baldy was not about the PFF score. I thought that was hilarious. Look at Trent, man. What a savage, bro. He's so good. What a savage. Look at my LT1, bro. Look at my LT1. So inspirational. But again, I agree. I'm more interested in the tape. I'm more interested in just watching with my eyeballs. Uh, I take offensive line PFF grades with a very thin grain of salt. So we'll see. We shall see. But anyways, let's see. 118. I think that's a good time for us to call it a day. I think that's a good time for us to call it a day. Uh Hopefully the Warriors, we got Warriors tomorrow. Hopefully the Warriors can figure it out. Hopefully they don't lose. Hopefully they split, because if they don't split, ooh, it's going to be a tough one. That is going to be a tough one to overcome. But I appreciate all you guys, as always, tapping in. Appreciate all the SDS. Appreciate everyone vibing with your boy. Appreciate all you guys to the max. Smash that like button if you haven't already. Again, if you're new to the channel, hit that sub button. We be going live all the time, talking all things football. And again, we're headed to that 7-week period where we have no football. So buckle in. But guess what? I'm still going to be here. We're still going to talk 49ers football. By the time that we get to training camp, we are going to know this team inside and out. We are going to have definitive thought processes for every single position and player. The SDS is going to be the most locked in group when it comes to 49ers football. I promise you. I promise you. But again, appreciate you guys. I'm out of here. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow, and then we will go from there. So again, appreciate you guys. I'm out of here.